Howdy ho, scumbags. I'm Andrew Fantasia. Today, we are going to be talking about Mr. Ezra Bridger, everybody's favorite teenage hero from Star Wars Rebels. Here's the thing about Ezra. We've talked about it on Rebel Scum podcast many a time. Many of the comments have brought it up as well. A lot of people are really championing Ezra to be in a live action movie, to cross that inescapable void between cartoon, leap over into live action so we can see him in all his glory on the big screen. Will it happen? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the case for it happening and the case against it happening. You can decide once you've heard that. If you change your mind, maybe you want to see him and then maybe you won't want to see him. So let's dive right in. Let's talk about Ezra. First, we'll start with the case for. The case for seeing Ezra Bridger in a live action movie. The first point I want to bring up, we all would love to see characters cross over from animation to live action. It helps us feel the connectedness of the world. That's a given. The favorite that seems to be going around, though, isn't Ezra. It's Ahsoka Tano. And the reason I think Ezra would be better for Ahsoka Tano is, obviously, I love Ahsoka. She's my girl. But we're all forgetting that there's a massive elephant in the room regarding her, and that is, if she's in a live action movie and she's prominent in this movie, that is a hell of a lot of makeup that actress has to wear. We keep forgetting that. That's makeup, folks. That is hours and hours of application. If she's ever given that major role, then the amount of time and money that they would spend, dressing this actress up, whether it's Ashley Eckstein playing her or Rosario Dawson or whoever, that's a lot of makeup time. That person's going to be sitting in that chair. They're not going to be a happy camper when they get out of it. So as a human, Ezra is much easier to adapt to live action. So there's 1 point for him right there. Now, Ezra's future is clouded in mystery. We don't know. We know he has a lot of darkness in him. We know he's a decent Jedi. But he lives now in a galaxy that's pretty much free of Jedi. In a galaxy where Sith rule everything, and his only mentor is Kanan, who was just a Padawan who never really finished his training. So Ezra's training itself is so limited. That means the odds of him going dark, the odds of him not being able to resist temptation are pretty damn high at this point, I would say. And I would like that, because in the future, if he's dark, he could make a good villain to go up against Luke or Rey or maybe even young Ben Solo. Because remember, there aren't any Sith after Return of the Jedi that we know of. So I want to take all the lightsaber-wielding villains I can get. So even if Ezra is not a legit Sith, if he's just a dark side guy who comes and antagonizes Luke or antagonizes Ben or Rey, I'll take that. We want to see some lightsaber duels. We want to see these Force wielders mess each other up, chop down fools. That's why we like Star Wars. That's some of the reason anyway. So that gives Ezra can fit in there nicely. He can be that lightsaber wielding villain that we need to fill in the gaps between 6 and 7 if we get a movie that takes place there. Here's another case for Ezra showing up in a movie. Obviously it opens the floodgates for other characters to cross genres. Not only jump into movies, but to just cross genres. So if we get Ezra in a movie, maybe we get Rey Sloane in a movie. Maybe we get Gallius Rax in a comic book. Or Luke Skywalker in a cartoon. Let's start taking these pieces and putting them all over the board. Ezra being in live action would really help open that up for us. Now here's one other case for Mr. Bridger. Ezra is Luke's age. Thereabouts. I think he may be 1 year older than Luke, but he's Luke's age. So if he's Benicio del Toro in episode 8, that means he's been hanging around rebellion folks for over 30 years. That means they could potentially sprinkle Ezra, if he's Benicio del Toro, they could sprinkle him into all kinds of stories anywhere from episode 4 to episode 8. he could have partaken in all of that rebellion stuff. He could live up to his namesake and literally become a bridge linking the films and the extended universe together. He could have been at the Battle of Endor, or a trainee at Luke's academy, or an ongoing rival of Luke's. He could have been like the Murdoch to Luke's MacGyver, and he just keeps popping up and saying, hey, remember me? I'm dark now. And they could have a fight. And then when we see them meet in episode 8, it's like, hey, I remember you, Ezra Del Toro. And Benicio Bridger's like, hello. And they have this animosity, and Rey's like, did I miss something? Do you two know each other? There you go. So all of a sudden, Ezra he's part, not just of canon, but he's part of Star Wars lore. He's a person that Luke has been interacting with over the years, and that makes him that much richer for it. Now let's talk about the case against. Maybe seeing Ezra Bridger in a live-action film might not be the best of ideas, and here's some points why. First, the big one, the one that has always been, every time James and Brock bring up, let's see Ezra in live action, this is the one thing that always pops into my head. Unless Ezra is very old when we see him in live action form, that means he'll be rocking a full blue head of hair. Now, Star Wars hasn't been shy about weird looking people and creatures, but is a blue haired human guy too much? Is that too far? If there's just a dude, if it's just Benicio Del Toro walking on screen with full blue dye in his hair, is that going to look silly? That's one thing that I'm worried about. Normally, I don't care. You know, it's Star Wars, the weirder the better. That's how it goes. I mean, for crying out loud, we have Biston the Space Monkey. So, and apparently Laura Dern is going to have pink hair in episode 8. Apparently she's got like a big, I think, I might be wrong. So, colored hair is not far-fetched, but because we haven't seen it yet, the thought of a blue-haired human male in Star Wars just kind of makes me kind of take a step back. That feels like it would work in something like Guardians of the Galaxy, but Star Wars, I don't know yet. So, like I said, unless he's old, because he is Luke's age, so unless he's old and gray and he's just white hair now, I would be a little hesitant to just throw a blue-haired man into my movie. And remember, if you remember the way Ezra's father looked, Ezra's father had blue facial hair too. So if Ezra's got a beard, it's going to be blue. Prepare yourself. We're going to get Captain Bluebeard in Star Wars Episode 8. Another case against Ezra Bridger is that Ezra, he's not the most interesting character on Rebels. To me, Sabine still holds that distinction. He's a guy with a lightsaber and force powers who never had proper Jedi training. Who does that sound like? Luke. That sounds exactly like Luke Skywalker. So what could Ezra bring to the table that we haven't seen before? We've already seen a guy with a lightsaber and force powers who does not have proper Jedi training. So Ezra's going to have to step up his game and give us something new. Otherwise, what's the point? He's just Luke 2.0. And I don't want Luke 2.0. I just want Luke. The final case against Mr. Bridger being in live action is, as far as I remember, Ezra could barely hold his own against the Inquisitors. The two Inquisitors, not even the grand, like the two, the guy and the sister and the brother. Ezra was struggling against them. Without decent training, how is he going to possibly be a threat to someone like Luke or Rey or Kylo Ren? How is, like, unless he spent the last 30 years just in Mickey's gym, just going at it, you know, just laser focused on becoming a Force wielder, he's not going to stand much of a chance. Remember, Ezra lost to Kanan when they spar, and Kanan loses a few times to the Inquisitors. So Ezra's pretty low on the totem pole in terms of sheer lightsaber dueling skill. So if he shows up as a villain, he's not going to be a very threatening villain unless he's had some major overhauls done. So, Ezra Bridger, will he? Won't he? Should he? Could he? Would he? What do you guys think? Are we going to see him in live action? Are we going to see somebody else in live action? How about Sabine? How about Hera? We've seen Chopper. We know it can be done. Let us know. What do you think? Who do you want to see? If not Ezra, somebody else? Give it to us. Let's hear it, folks. Thank you so much, scumbags. We'll see you next time.
Hey, scumbags. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.